If you have ever packed for all 4 seasons in just one day, bought chapstick in bulk, or rank your favorite local breweries on how dog-friendly they are, you are probably a Coloradan. Whether you grew up here or you've been here long enough to consider yourself a local, today I'm going over the 10 things that you will only understand if you are a Coloradan. I'm Eileen. I am a relocation specialist and real estate agent based right here in Fort Collins, Colorado. And I make these videos for people who are thinking about moving to Northern Colorado and curious about what life actually looks like here on the Front Range. And if you're new here and considering a move to Colorado, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming videos on all things Northern Colorado. Me and my team help people navigate their relocation to and from the state with ease, making sure you can make an educated and confident decision on where in Colorado you want to land and what home looks like to you. Okay, so we are starting with this one because this is the one that breaks every out-of-stater's brain first. It is entirely possible in Colorado, and I have personally lived this, to get the worst sunburn of your life with overcast sky or in the dead of winter. Some of my worst sunburns have been in the winter months or during a cloudy day when I don't even think to put on sunscreen. How does this happen? Well, the altitude changes everything. The sun at 5,000 feet hits completely different than it does at sea level. UV exposure is significantly higher here. You can get a serious sunburn any time of year on almost any day. And that's not even getting into the mountains where the sun gets even more intense. And if you're skiing, the sun can reflect off of the snow, causing even more exposure and risk to sunburn. My advice, always wear sunscreen, even if it feels like a cloudy and cool day like today, because the sun here can be completely unsuspecting. Number 2, if you're from Colorado, especially along the Front Range, you don't use north, south, east, or west the way that other people do. You use the mountains. The mountains are west, always. That's it. That's the rule. You can see the mountains, you know exactly where you are. And I have given directions to people in Fort Collins by saying, turn towards the mountains, and had 0 follow-up questions. It works every time. The flip side of this, when Coloradoans travel to other places without mountains, flat states, the Midwest, or coastal cities, we genuinely get disoriented, like viscerally unsettled. And in my own personal experience, having left Colorado and living in Northern California for a handful of years, I had to use navigation for longer than I'd like to admit to get around. I missed having the Western orientation like I missed having my left hand. The sense of knowing exactly where you are in the world at all times, and if you are from here, you get it. In Colorado, the barrier to outdoor activity is basically non-existent. Getting outside to hike, bike, or paddle is the equivalent to a Sunday brunch in so many places, meaning that the people here aren't just grabbing a coffee to catch up and hang out. We are wanting to get outside, move our bodies, get that fresh air, and enjoy that Colorado sunshine. And a lot of times, if you aren't from Colorado, your version of hiking usually differs from what the locals consider a hike. Coloradans tend to have a completely recalibrated sense of easy and moderate meaning on the trail. Moderate here means what most people in other states would consider difficult or maybe even a strenuous workout. Easy means a paved or some type of walking path with hardly any elevation gain. But the thing is, we're not showing off here. It's just life. And having grown up here and being surrounded by people who grew up in other states, I often hear Coloradans here are just a different breed. Meaning many of us grew up doing these things as early as we could walk. Skiing, hiking, riding bikes. The outdoors is just woven into our daily lives and how we spend time together. It's how we connect. It's literally our version of a coffee shop. If you are enjoying this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I want these videos to be able to reach people who are thinking about moving to Northern Colorado so they can have a clear picture on what life is really like here on the Front Range. And when you interact with these videos, it really just helps push them to the right audience. Okay, so the next one is that Coloradans know the difference between a Colorado storm and actual bad weather. And what I mean by this is simple. Out-of-staters see a dark cloud, which they can get very dark and scary looking out here, and they panic. Coloradans see a dark cloud, shrug, and typically know that it will roll out as quickly as it came in. Here's the thing about Colorado weather. Yes, it can be dramatic. Hailstorms in summer, blizzards in April, snow in September, we've seen it all. But we also know that most storms pass here in about 20 minutes. The sky opens up, dumps everything it has, and then the sun is back out like nothing has happened. We don't cancel plans for a little rain. We do not freak out over a dusting of snow. However, it is important. Coloradans have a deep respect for weather when it actually gets serious. We know the difference. We know when to get off a 14er, we know when to pull over on I-25, and we know when we need to try and find the nearest tree or covered parking if temperatures suddenly drop, meaning hail could be a very real possibility. Once you've lived through a few Colorado seasons, you'll also learn to have that instinct. All right, number 5, everyone has a dog. I don't have any data on this, but I am fairly certain that Colorado might have the highest dogs per capita than anywhere else in the country. And Fort Collins is absolutely no exception. Dogs are everywhere. You will see them at breweries, on the trails, on outdoor patios, at the farmers market, and just about everywhere and anywhere you go. If you move to Colorado and you don't have a dog, you might be persuaded fairly quickly to rescue one. The culture here is genuinely dogs. Businesses put out water bowls, trails are full of off-leash areas. People plan their entire weekends around activities that their dogs can join in on. And honestly, it's one of the things that I love most about living here. You can tell a lot about a community by how it treats its animals, and Colorado treats them very, very well. Number 6, wildlife is just a part of life. You're a true Coloradoan when a deer in your front yard is not a photo opportunity, it's just a Wednesday. Just this last week, I was golfing at Mariana Butte, and we actually had a herd of elk on the golf course, and I saw 2 of the largest elk I have ever seen walking through the parking lot. No joke. If you're near the foothills, wildlife can range from anything from elk to mountain lions, bears to moose. But the things that the locals understand is the calibration. You respect the wildlife. You do not approach it. You do not feed it. You keep your respectful distance and look from afar. But you're also not scared of it. You coexist. There's something genuinely grounding about living somewhere where wild animals are your neighbors. It keeps you connected to the fact that we built our towns in their habitat, not the other way around. Number 7, I-25 is a lifestyle, not a highway. If you live along the northern Colorado Front Range, I-25 is most likely a part of your daily life in a way that's hard to explain. It connects Fort Collins to Denver, Loveland to Colorado Springs, and it's how we get to the airport. It's the spine of everything, and Coloradans have a whole relationship with this highway. We know the trouble and construction spots by heart. We know when to leave to avoid the crush around Denver. We know that the stretches up north can get dicey in the winter. We have opinions about the never-ending construction, but we also know the reward, because driving along I-25 on a clear day with the Rockies laid out to the west, it never gets old, especially after the first snowfall when the peaks are all snow-capped, or on a clear day when you can see multiple 14ers from almost anywhere along the highway. Locals have developed a love-hate relationship with this highway, but for better or for worse, it's just one of the major backbones of Colorado, and we have learned to embrace it. And I want to hear how I-25 compares to other highways in different states. Is it traffic worse? Is it fairly mild? Do people drive crazy? Do Coloradans drive slow? Having grown up here, I love to hear how major highways compare with other highways like the 405 in California or Interstate 10 in Texas. So drop a comment below and give your honest opinion on how I-25 compares to your home highways. Okay, so this next one is a little more serious, and it's one that separates people who have lived here a while from the people who are brand new. Colorado is a semi-arid state and is essentially a high desert. I know, the mountains, the green summers, the ski resorts, it doesn't feel like a desert, but the water situation here is complicated and Coloradans know it. Water rights in Colorado are their own legal world. The Colorado River Compact, agricultural water disputes, drought years. These are not abstract issues. They affect communities, they affect growth, they affect what gets built where. Locals here take water conservation very seriously. We water our lawns on schedules, we xeriscape, we watch our water consumption on everything, from capturing water in your shower before it gets warm, to shutting off your faucet while you're brushing your teeth, to being selective about when we flush our toilets. We pay attention to snowpack reports in the winter the way that other places watch hurricane forecasts, because that snowpack is our water supply, and it's definitely a different relationship with a resource that people elsewhere take completely for granted. You can definitely say that you're a Coloradoan once you've learned to understand that our water here is a precious resource and you begin to think consciously when using it. All right, number 9 is that Coloradans' chapstick and lotion game is unmatched. Out of think dry skin is just an inconvenience, Coloradans know it's a way of life. When you move here, you go through a humbling adjustment period when your lips crack, your skin feels like sandpaper, and you cannot figure out what is happening to your hair, skin, and lips, no matter how much water you drink. When I moved back from California, I swear I aged 10 years overnight from the lack of humidity. But then one day it just clicks and you have chapstick in every jacket pocket, every car cup holder, every nightstand, and lotion becomes a non-negotiable part of many locals' routine. You don't even think about it anymore. And when a visitor mentions their lips are chapped after day 2, you just hand them a chapstick without a word. Because we've been there. We've all been there. I sometimes think that without Coloradans, I'm not even sure the chapstick industry would exist. This last one is one that real Coloradans, people who have been here long enough to see the changes, will truly feel. Colorado was one of the fastest growing states in the country for a long time. In northern Colorado, Fort Collins, Timnath, Windsor, Wellington is right at the center of the growth. People are moving here from all over the country, and for good reason. It's genuinely one of the most livable places in the United States, but there's a complicated feeling that comes with that. Longtime Coloradans love to share this place, but they also feel a very real protectiveness over it. The traffic that didn't used to exist, the open land that got developed, and the small town feeling that's harder to hold on to. It's not anti-growth, it's not unwelcoming, it's just love for a place that we grew up in and a genuine hope that the people who come here will be as friendly and kind and love it and take care of it in the same way that longtime residents do. All right, so those are my 10 things you will only truly understand if you're from Colorado. And I know I could have made this list 50 things long, so I want to hear yours. Drop it in the comments. What did I miss? What is on your list as a longtime local? And when do you think people truly become a Coloradan? Does it take years? Can it happen in a week? Let me know in the comments, because I know that there are very strong opinions on this. And if you are watching this because you're thinking about moving to northern Colorado, be sure to reach out. My contact information is in the description below. I would love to connect and help you navigate your move to the area. And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure that you like and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos on Fort Collins and northern Colorado. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.